Hey everybody, welcome back to the You're Not Broken podcast. And I'm like literally laughing because I just told Tamsen that she can swear, and I don't know if I've even heard Tamsen swear in my life, so now I'm feeling bad
I
about
haven't
it.
heard you swear. How dare you? Of course you have.
Have I heard you swear?
Of course. What the hell is wrong with you?
I'm like, do you swear in your book? I don't think you swear in your book
Let
though.
me think in the book. Did I swear? Oh,
I
that's a
don't
good
know.
question.
Dude, Tamsen, we're here to talk about your book, which is called How to
I
Menopause.
don't swear. How
You
to menopause.
literally like turned it into a verb. So it's like next level. I'm like, have other people told you you've turned menopause into a you've turned it into
You're
a verb?
like uber smart, so you're calling it a verb. I didn't even know I did that.
She verbed menopause, the first person to have done it. So the book is called How to Menopause, and it's really, really effing good.
Thank you.
I
Thank
finished
you.
it this weekend,
Well, you're in it.
and I'm
Thank
in
you.
it.
I had such a good time writing it now that it's over. And now that I'm done writing it, as you
Yeah,
know, that is quite the process. But
I think writing books is like getting a tattoo or having is like it's mostly torture, and then you forget about it, and then you want another one.
I want to do it again. I want it
Yeah,
on my
it
ankle
wasn't
this
that
time.
bad. Was it that bad? It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. This one was fun though, because I was a journalist for 30 years. So I love interviewing people. I love asking questions. And so that's what this was. I got to ask like a gazillion questions. And then I got to really grab everybody from social media and ask their questions of all these brilliant doctors and experts and, and all people from all fields, including yourself, questions that I wish I had the answers to. Like I wish I knew this. I wish I knew I was in perimenopause. I wish I knew that I was what to do in menopause. And so it was really kind of this how to. And when I came up with that, I struggled with the title. Remember, like a year plus ago, I was like, I don't know what to call it. You were at my house. I was
Uh-huh.
like, I don't know what to call it. I don't know what it is. People are telling me to call it like hot, and like I didn't know what to do. You're like, you can't do that. And so, yeah. So anyway, when I was like, this is a how-to book, and then I went, oh, the most obvious answer is the right one, right?
100%. I think a big barrier is that a lot of people still don't think that perimenopause is real.
Right, right. It's a huge barrier.
It's like most people will accept menopause as a thing,
Yeah,
but like,
yeah,
do they just think like a light gets swapped on Tuesday and now you're in menopause? Like, there's a massive event headed up to ovarian senescence. Like, talk about your experience, and you do it so beautifully in the book of like making you feel, because I mean, top news anchor in New York City, you kind of look like you have it all put together,
a little do
right?
you know.
And like, we all want to feel like we have it put together, but
Yeah, we
you
do,
give
right?
such a humanist picture to being like, dude, the duck that looks smooth on the surface is like
Yeah,
paddling like crazy underneath. So
yeah.
share your perimenopause, because I know it's going to resonate with people.
I didn't even know I was going through it. I went through a really messy divorce in my early 40s, and everything that happened to me during that time, every doctor was like, it's stress. Your hair is falling out, stress. Can't sleep, stress. Feeling anxiety and nervousness and like weird, non-social things that didn't make any sense to who I was, stress. And I irregular periods all over the place. I never had the hallmark, to my knowledge, of the 12 months of not having a period in my mind because I had endometrium polyps. So I never was like, oh, I didn't get my period for a year because I thought that because I was bleeding, it was. Um, and then I had really debilitating brain fog, but didn't have vocabulary for it. Yeah, I just knew that I started feeling really uncomfortable going on television every night, which is something I did like air.
Mhm.
But then I would be nervous in front of the camera. I would feel uncomfortable. I would look at a word, couldn't remember it, skip the word. I mean, it was just really like not me. And I couldn't wait to get off the air, which, for 30 years, you do them for 30 years, you kind of have it down. And I couldn't wait to not do it, every night at the end of the night. And so I realized once I hit menopause, which was, I had a blood test done after I landed on the floor of the women's bathroom one night in a live broadcast, heart racing out of control, not knowing what was going on, feeling completely anxious. I went to the doctor and I got 4 words in my patient portal: in menopause, any questions? That was it. Like literally that was it. That was my diagnosis. That was what they told me. That's what they like. And I was like, what the fuck? In menopause? What does that mean? And so my husband now was my boyfriend at the time, and I was like, I'm in menopause. Like I couldn't believe this like horrible old like what is this thing? And then I wound up going doctor to doctor to try to figure out what to do, and just had no idea. But perimenopause was never mentioned to me. I was getting polyps taken out every other year, never mentioned to me. Bleeding all the time, bleeding through outfits, bleeding on the anchor desk, running between commercial breaks to change my tampon. Like nothing. No one ever said anything to me. And so when I think about all those women that are so confused, that's what wakes me up every day and keeps me up late at night.
100%. I mean, you live in New York City and you have access, and besides the fact you just a ton of people, right? And so I think of you of like, dude, how many doctors did you have to go to like get to the point where you're like, okay, I think we're good at this point. And it's like, how many did you have to go to? And then you're like, everybody else is kind of effed.
Well, I couldn't even believe I was doing it. And first of all, even if you here's the problem. The problem is like finding a doctor, going to it, spending the time, taking time off work, if you even have that luxury to be able to find a doctor to do that, and then get there and feel like completely misunderstood or walking away with no answers, or not even knowing what to fight for, right? So I went from a GP, because I didn't really even know what was wrong with me when that happened. I went to a therapist because I thought it was anxiety, got Lexapro, went to an endocrinologist, went to another OB, and I was given hormones after I got that diagnosis of in menopause any question, which I changed that OB. And then I was offered pellets, and then I was scared to go on hormones because my mother died of breast cancer, so I had no clue what was going on. I mean, this was just like over. There was like 6 different doctors, and which was insane. And then I finally met a woman that said to me, I met one woman that was like, I can't wait to get on hormones because of how great it's going to be for my skin. And I'm like, what? Like I just like there were these crazy things, and I was like, I don't care about my skin. I care about like I just know what happened to my mother.
Right.
And so I finally went to a doctor. It was like, why are you suffering? Like let me just explain to you what it is. It's not about what's happening today. It's not about that we don't think you're tough enough to handle the hot flashes and the not wanting to have sex with your fiance. It's that long term, this is what it protects. And I had no idea. Like that wasn't even, I thought that you don't do medicine in the immediate or anything. If you can help it, right? If I can help it, I don't want to do that.
If you do everything else right, you get the privilege of not needing to take medications. Exactly. And like menopause turns that upside down.
And even vaginal estrogen was never a conversation until I started talking with you all, like literally never a conversation. I had to go back to my doctor and say like, hey, what about vaginal estrogen? So it's just really, and so, when we went through the years of making the documentary, The M Factor, which you star in, that was another learning curve for me, like all the things I thought I knew at that point leading up to it, I just learned all new things.
Yeah. Well, because you had become the expert of your experience. Right. And now you're making a documentary of like, there's all these other experiences also happening.
Exactly.
Because we're not like, this is not a one size fits all. And that's why your book is so great. Cause you're like, great, this book is called How to Menopause. I'm going to figure out the path. And then you find out like everybody's path is different.
Everybody's path is different. And I think, when I look at all the areas, when someone's like, what are we going to do to get past this? And I was like, there's so many different areas, right? There's the funding, there's the research, there's the education in medical school. There's until we do all those things, we have to educate women because that's our first line of defense, right?
Yes.
Like we are our own first line of defense. And so I do feel like there's just so much to do. And so some days I can't, paddle fast enough. I think
I'm going to dig us into a dark hole, but hopefully then take us back out. But there's a corner of the internet where physicians are complaining that women are going in and advocating for perimenopause and menopause care. And I don't know if you're aware of that or not.
No, I don't. It's not come to me yet. I'm assuming that's
And so, like us as being part of the menopause of like that, dude, that's how we're changing the world is we're educating women to go advocate and listen for better or for worse. These are hormones or prescription medications. Like the people who can prescribe are the gatekeepers to this one piece of menopause care. I know
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah,
everything for
absolutely.
menopause care, but it's huge. It's literally what menopause is low hormones. And some people like the medical system's already so stressed
Yeah.
that now people are coming in asking for more. Is it like it isn't all smooth sailing, and to that, and what am I doing? I'm not complaining. What I'm doing is people are actually saying, what are these women coming in thinking everything's perimenopause? And we're like, oh, well, we're doing a good job then, because the
Yeah.
doctors are realizing women are coming in now.
Yeah, they are.
And the way we get information now is books, podcasts, documentaries. Medical care is no longer the gatekeeper to knowledge
Mm-mm.
like it used to be.
We know it's interesting. Well, two things. I was at an event. I was at South by Southwest, and this woman came up to me and she goes, "I just want to thank you." And I said, "Yeah, of course." And she goes, "But my doctor told me that when I went in and I told the doctor that I'm like have this brain fog and I'm just not feeling myself and I'm gaining weight and I just like alcohol's not the same way. I just I feel off. My periods are all over the place. That menopause was just trending right now." And that's not what it was. And I was like heartbroken. I went, "Oh no," because we always know this is how it works. When things go one way, now we're gonna have to like there's gonna have to be this shift for a little while till
Yeah.
everyone's comfortable. But I do hope that there's enough in terms of telehealth out there to
Yeah.
be able to scoop up these people that need help, and I hope that there's enough of our voices out there strong enough. The other thing I will say is I was in New Jersey at an event, and this woman stood up and she said, "I just want you to know, I watched. I had people coming into the office like, I need hormones. I think it's perimenopause. I think I'm in menopause." And she's like, "Oh gosh, now what?" And so she said, "I've been an OB and delivering babies my whole life." And she said, and people were saying like, "Oh, I read this book. I saw this documentary. I keep hearing about it online." And she said, so I sat down and I watched a documentary, and she goes, "And I got a copy of your book that one of my patients brought into me. And I just want you to know that I'm turning my practice over to treating all women in midlife and be a practitioner and learn about menopause." And I was like, "Oh my God, like that's
Yeah.
amazing."
Yeah.
That's amazing. So I think for every one of the critics that we get, if we have somebody like that comes over and says that that's what they're doing to help so many women, that's incredible.
I changed my career
I
because
know
of
you
it.
did. I know.
I gave up surgery to treat hormones and sex med.
I
Like
mean,
it's that rewarding.
well, but your voice is that big. Like I was on another podcast earlier, and the woman's like, I always love what Dr. Kelly Casperson says, and I'm like, me too. I'm talking to her later.
They
So I
call me
was like,
I'm
I'm
like the
so
no
proud.
nonsense. Like I always think like all the menopause, like all of us, we were all like Teletubbies or the Spice Girls or the Power Rangers, and I'm like the no nonsense. I'm the no
I love it.
nonsense one.
I love that. But well, we need that one. We need that one.
Yeah,
But
it's just
I
like
think it's a
this is
really
how it
good
is. Make it
deal.
make sense.
Well, I think we need those voices though, and we need women to understand. Like I was with Dr. Suzanne Gilbert-Lenz. She came into Los Angeles and
She interviewed you.
she interviewed me. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really fun. She was like, "Oh, good. I can't wait." I'm like, "Really?" She goes, "I've never interviewed you." And I said, "Oh, I never thought about it like that." She goes, "You've interviewed me like 10 times." She said, "The truth is like you're the lay person, me, and you're helping women communicate with us, the doctor." And she's like, "And that's what's really the bridge. And we need all of us holding hands." And I'd never looked at it really like that before. I'm always like, "Oh, I'm journalist," but that's the truth is I'm just a real woman. And so I think that was where the book was easier for me to write because I pictured what I was going through. I was like, okay, this book has to be brain fog proof because when I was really going through it, I still was in out in out. Book took like 2 years to write, and so I was still like having a hard time concentrating, having a tough time sitting down and like picking up a thought and taking it to completion without getting distracted.
Mhm.
And so I really did write that book from a place of somebody who'd been through that. Like I was like, what do I want when I pick up this book? I'm not feeling good, might not have slept, kind of like irritated with everything, don't have a lot of patience, don't have time to go deep. Like just give me the facts. And so that was why I had fun with that. But yeah, so Suzanne just kind of explained it to me, like how she sees that bridge. And I thought that was pretty cool.
It's so cool. And to me, I'm like, this is not just about, I think a lot of this is about hormones, don't get me wrong, but it's not like what we're doing is we're teaching people how to advocate for themselves. We're teaching people how to ask for something at the doctor's office. We're teaching them, like, the menopause is like, this is what you say to the doctor. This is how you ask for it. This is how you do it. And it's like, we're fundamentally changing the world in many, because that's going to trickle down into everything else. Like
100%.
the difficult conversations, like, your fiance, when you're like, I'm in menopause, it's not like he's like, don't worry, honey, I got this. They can't have this, right? So it's like, it's a whole different way of being like, I've got to know what's going on because nobody else does.
Well, it's funny that because, it was really, I lived by scripts my whole life. And so I was like, oh, I'm just going to write some scripts inside the book for people, because it really, when you feel nervous and uncomfortable and rightfully so, because you go into the doctor, and I don't know if you feel like this as a doctor, going to another doctor, do you feel intimidated ever, or no, because you probably know so much, so you can talk their language?
I'm more like at the dentist. I have that though, because I'm like, I don't know anything about teeth.
Okay, that's a good. Okay,
and I think so I get that at the dentist, like, and I'm like, I also feel like it's like a personality issue. Like if something's wrong with my teeth, it's because I was a moral failure. Like I get that a lot at the dental.
That's how we feel. Like I'm like, hey, I'm bleeding like a lot. What did I do wrong to cause this to my body?
Am I not meditating enough?
Yeah. Like, did I not meditate?
Did I forget to recycle something once?
So that's how we feel at the doctors. And so I really, like, it's funny, even now, I really do have to like go in there and be like, okay, I was with Ira because he's had this like horrible cough, and we went into the doctor, and the doctor like looks, and he's like, what's she doing here? And so, because Ira will be like, oh yeah, whatever you want me to take. And I was like, nope. Is there a contraindicator to this medicine? And I was like, what? And so I don't even know if I know what the word really means. And so, but I've learned to like at least ask enough questions to either, one, they want me to leave, or two, at least I've second guessed enough where I feel, I feel good. And I want people to feel like that, especially women in midlife, because that's the area that's just been like, kind of had the shrug. But I think that doctors, especially when doctors reach that age, whether it's perimenopause or menopause, have more sympathy or more awareness, because they're going through it now too with very little answer. And so I think that that's why we're seeing that kind of, change so rapidly.
Well, I think especially like the female physicians are like, dude, the menopause belly? Yeah. I get it. Like, when we're like, dude, do you just keep telling women to like exercise and eat less? It's like, that don't work.
I know.
That doesn't work.
I know.
That's not what's going on.
I had Dr. Rocio on my podcast, and we did my numbers, because she is my endocrinologist, and she went through my numbers and said like I was pre-diabetic, and I'm like, what? And I couldn't believe it. And so then she's like, are you sure you want to go through it on the air? And I was like, I do, because I think it's important that, like, I can't pretend that like I'm perfect. I'm not.
Right.
And, be like, oh no, I perfectly eat every bit of everything.
Right.
Like, it's really hard to get that much protein. It's really hard to like, and so she was explaining to me like the grains that I was doing to try to get enough protein in the form of grains were causing a problem for me. Sugar.
Right.
Isn't that crazy? I had no idea.
It's crazy.
It's just like constantly learning, but I asked her 6,000 questions about it because I just didn't understand. But she, you guys are patient with all my questions, which is good.
We love you. And like, also we're obsessed with this topic, dude. But I have to tell you, this might be the first time, this might be an announcement on this podcast right now. I got my DEXA done last week.
You did? I'm going at the beginning of June. Oh, dude, my
gosh. For anybody who's listening in my town, go to like the private radiology clinic in town. Ask what your cash price for DEXA bone density. 2 different DEXAs. There's a DEXA for bone density and there's DEXA for body composition. And there's usually 2 different things. So ask for the one you want. They're both good. But I have an in-body scanner in my clinic, so I don't need body comp.
Right.
So I got
Is that the one that you stand on with the
That's
thing?
when you stand on and it plays a little music. I mean, very. I gained like a pound of muscle over the past month, and I'm like so proud of my 1 pound baby, my 1 pound baby muscle. But dude, I have osteopenia.
No, you don't. Then I must. Yes. I must.
Dude, I chalk it up. So you don't, like, the thing with the DEXA is you don't know. I know. So I've been processing that.
What do you have to do now?
Just be more of a badass. This is what I'm being most. So
Right.
here's the thing. I don't know. You don't know if you ever built to maximum capacity. Like, so maximum bone strength is 25.
Okay.
Right? Like, maybe I never built. I'm a small framed person.
Okay.
Blah blah blah. But I'm like, also, dude, I was pretty much underweight or at the bottom of the BMI for most of my life.
Okay.
And so I'm like, dude, I was just freaking undernourished
Is that
forever.
forever? I mean, that's what that is. I
Yeah.
mean, is it like vitamin? Did you have ever low levels of vitamin D? Did you have like?
Not
Were
that, I mean,
you?
we don't check that shit. Like, we don't know, But so now I'm like, dude, protein, muscle, vitamin D. Like, now I've started jumping. Just
Oh,
the data on, and it's like minimal jumps. It's like
yeah.
20 jumps a day. It's like actually
Is that
kind of
on the
fun.
little trampoline thing?
No, you just freaking jump. So like, it
Jump
just,
like in the air?
yeah. You
Okay.
can do one-legged jumps if you feel like good for your balance and
What do
blah
the
blah.
jumps do? Is it for balance or
It's
for
for
what?
bone strength.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll try that. Oh no. Now I'm a little nervous, honestly. They
No,
do.
no, like this is like, get the DEXA, figure
Okay.
out where you are, because it's like you can at least maintain, if not gain.
Mhm.
So to me, I'm like, oh, all the hormones. I'm probably never gonna try to be skinny again in my life.
Yeah.
like,
Oh, I
like
know.
to me, I'm like, it's muscle. So muscle is sexy as hell too. So it's like, put on a couple of pounds and look hot.
I know. I
Not
know.
a tough ask, right? But it's like, dude, our generation, like the 90s, the supermodels who our role models were,
I know.
freaking osteopenic.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I mean, look, I remember, I just remember, it's funny. I was cleaning out a bunch of stuff and, I have these like file cabinets because I'm still, whatever. My husband's like, how do you have paper? Every part of your life is so streamlined. How do you still have paper? But I used to keep notes of what I would eat. It was really bad. And I would be like, um, half of banana grain muffin, coffee, cappuccino. And then it would be like dinner, sweet potato, spinach. And that was like my day of eating because then I'd be like, work out on the whatever, the Stairmaster for an hour and a half until I sweated out. I mean, that was literally what that time period was. And it's so screwed up and sick. So I get really happy when I see young women like strength training and paying attention and
Yeah,
ignoring the stupidity.
totally.
That we
Like,
feel.
to me, the DEX is a wake up call too. Of like,
That is a little scary one. I know.
dude,
But it's a good one.
I'm mid 40s.
It's good.
Like, in pre
Reverse some of
menopause.
that or no?
What's that?
Can you reverse some of that
Yeah,
or no? Yeah.
that's the goal. And if at anything now, it's like, keep an eye on it every year to make sure you're not losing ground.
Yeah. Yeah. Is
But
it
a lot of people don't know the biggest percentage of bone loss is the 2 years up to your period ending. Right. So it's like, get the DEXA now, even if insurance doesn't cover it. It's $80 cash. And
Yeah.
I'm in Washington State, but it's like, know where you are. Because now I'm like, dude, muscle.
Well, you know what's funny
Hormones.
about it though is that I had an appointment for June. They're rescheduling me now, but the place that did it, they got rid of their machine. I'm like, what? You should be tripling the machine. We're sending people to it because it's one of these like radiology places. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering what other kind of places have that machine that is going to be accessible to people. Because the body composition machine I've done before, because that was inside of a doctor's office. Seems like a lot of doctors have that now.
Yeah. So body comp doesn't require x-ray.
Oh,
but DEXA is, and they're coming out with new. When I was in Sydney in Australia for the Sydney Opera House, I actually got my femur ultrasounded. So there's an ultrasound that's right, because they're like, listen, x-ray is difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah,
to build an x-ray room, right? Like it's difficult, but a lot of people can ultrasound. This is I forget, it's like $60,000 or $80,000 to buy this thing, but it not only measures density, which is what DEXA does, but it measures strength.
Yeah.
So in Sydney, Australia, this guy did my femur, and he's like, it is showing some issues with density, but it's showing a very strong bone.
Okay. So you already knew there was something maybe.
So I already knew. I was like, okay, what is this going to look like on DEXA?
Yeah. Okay.
So the DEXA showed osteopenia, but DEXA doesn't measure strength.
Oh, wow. That's so fascinating.
It's super interesting.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to have to start jumping.
This is the title of this podcast is Everybody Get a DEXA and read how to menopause.
Get your DEXA.
One thing that I want to ask you about is you're at the top of your game. Like you got the Emmys, you got the New York City anchor chair. Like, worked your way up from other states and like you got to the pinnacle and then you effing quit. Did you, and I would say I'm an outsider looking in, but I'd be like, dude, your career now is bigger than it was as a news anchor. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
But it's like, dude, you're producing, you are creating, you're writing, you're traveling. Like it's bigger. And I would say influencing, like who watches the New York City news? People in New York.
Yes.
Now this is the world. Did you see that coming? That you're like, I'm going to quit this and be bigger and better than ever?
No, you knew me. You knew me. You knew me on both things. I was petrified. No, I just knew that every single day that I woke up, this is the only thing I could focus on. Like it was it. I was filming the documentary while I was at work, and I was like at work from 2 p.m. to 11:30 every day during all that. Most of the time you knew me. And then in between there is when I was doing the documentary. And then I just was so obsessed with this conversation and this space. And I really came into it through the midlife lens, I think, early on, of like, oh, as we age. And then when I learned about menopause, I was like, what in the world? How is this the one story that I never told in being a journalist for that long? And I just couldn't get it out of my head. And then when the documentary happened, I mean, I was like, I don't know where it's all going to go. I don't know what's going to happen, but it would really be grateful if you would do an interview. I mean, really, that's how we did this. It's been very grassroots. You know that better than anybody. And then even with the book, I was like, well, I'm going to, take as many questions as I can get, pull it together and do a bunch of interviews. And I really wasn't quite sure. So no, I think I still every once in a while get up in the morning and I'm like, what do we have to do next? Like in a panic, because I do feel like this conversation, there's so many women to try to help, but I had no idea where I was going when I left. A lot of people thought I was crazy. And it was scary because that's the only thing I'd ever known, but I definitely knew that this was that purpose thing everyone had always talked about, like, your purpose. And I was like, man, I don't know my purpose.
Right.
But then all of a sudden, like that happened. And I'm like, oh, I guess that's what this is. I don't know. It's just never.
Isn't that wild? Like like, the people who say like your purpose finds you when you're hard at work, or you're like, your purpose finds you when you're not paying attention to it.
Whatever. I never.
Why do you think this topic was like an obsessive topic to you? What
I mean,
piece
Kelly
of it
covered so many things. Like I've been to Afghanistan, I've been to all over the world covering, war and following our troops and doing investigative journalism and, helping police with things, you know what I mean? Like I've done so much entertainment. I don't know, I think because it was personal, really personal. I think because I was seeing the number of women suffering. And I think that I really felt crazy. Like I really felt like something was really, really wrong with me. And I often wonder, not to go too far off, but I also often wonder, like, was this always going to happen? Like I lost my mom at an early age. I lost her at 51. I was 20 years old at the time. She was 51, like so young now. When I look at it, though I didn't realize it then. And I always wonder if like that was going to be my full circle thing. I don't know. It wasn't. I mean, I did a lot of breast cancer advocacy, but nothing like this, nothing like this. And so I don't know. I just never, I could never have written this. I'll tell you that. I could never have
it sounds like it gripped you. Like
it did.
Once you discovered it was just like claws in.
Yeah.
This is it.
It's funny now if I go, it used to be where I would go someplace and go to a dinner or whatever, and people would be like, oh, what's the most famous person you've interviewed? Or what's the best story you've ever told or whatever. And now it's like, hey, listen, I am like sweating. I like just feel awful. And then my doctor, blah, blah, and I was like, oh, I totally changed. My husband's like, does everyone just talk to you about menopause? Said, yes.
Right. Now it could be like you've like identified as a safe sounding board and people just know that for you.
I hope so.
Welcome to being a doctor, my friend.
Yeah. I know. I was like, no, I always preface it. I'm not a doctor. Somewhere. And then somebody will ask a question. I'm like, again, I'm not a doctor, but the 600 times.
I forgot. You feel very safe.
It's really funny.
That's awesome. Dude, so we met at the first Swell event in New York City. I was thinking about this while I was reading your book. because you had mentioned that event in the book.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking back to it, and you wore the most gorgeous green. I'm like looking around for the green, the most gorgeous green suit.
My highlighter suit.
I'm like, I don't know if you remember the suit. I remember the suit. Like, you came in because you were they're like, she's gonna interview Katie Couric. And I'm like, this person in the suit. You know when you're just like, I just know we need to be friends. Like, you know, they scan the room and you're like, that person? I'm like, damn, that suit. It's amazing.
I'm so glad you scanned for me. Hold on one second, Kelly.
Okay.
Hold on. My computer has gotten to be wonky. Okay. I think that's
no
why.
worries.
There we go. All right.
So with the way the book sounded, because I wanted to ask you this, in the book it sounded like Alyssa just called you up the night before and was like, "Can you swing over?"
Yeah, it was like literally the night or two before. She was like, she goes, I think she called like somebody on my like the PR person or something at the station or something, and she was like, could you do an interview with a panel we have for this event? And I was like, yeah, who's on the panel? She was like, Katie Couric, Naomi Watts, and Natalie Nixon. And I was like, I'm interviewing Katie Couric and Naomi Watts
tomorrow.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know. It was like literally that week. And I go, okay, do we know what they want to talk about? Like, you know, what? So I couldn't even believe it. And then they were just both like so kind. And so it's like, I know Katie, but I didn't know Naomi. And so we're both like, it was great. It was great. But then, you know, honestly, because Katie is like ahead of me a bit in news, like, you know, she was like, somebody I always looked up to. And so to interview her, like it's one thing having a conversation with, another thing interviewing Katie Couric. So I was like, oh, I was all bold. And then I'm like, oh crap, it's Katie Couric. I got to really study for this and really be prepared. And then of course, like it totally, every time I've ever done a panel, it totally just like goes way off the notes. I never stick to it. So now I just like, I don't even know.
That's what makes them fun.
Yeah. I don't even bring notes anymore because, you know, it's never going to go that way. I mean, you know how it goes.
Yeah. I love it. When we did that event, that was like 22.
Yes.
I want to say, were you already like, where were you in the grip of the menopause culture and like knowing your calling at that event?
I think I was still working for sure. And I think at that point I had just sold the book, if I'm not mistaken, like, or just like started going out there with it. And then, but it was like, just like this proposal. And then with the documentary, I think we were just starting to have the conversation about what it was going to look like, but I hadn't even partnered with Denise yet, my other partners in LA. Mm-hmm. So I was not, it was like, we were still shooting on our iPhones. We were going out in Times Square, like shooting on our iPhones.
Oh, can you, I'm meaning to ask you this anyways, but where are you with, we talked about the documentary a while ago, we're working on international rights. Where did it go?
We've got international rights. Yeah. We've got
international rights
going into different countries. Yeah. They're bringing it into different countries.
Somebody from Australia literally just emailed me and I think I forwarded it to Denise because they're like, I'm in Australia. I need to show this. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening with the international stuff right now.
I'm actually thinking of maybe doing something where we do like a big, huge event to show it. So I'm thinking of that for.
Is it in Canada? Has Canada seen much of this?
Some of Canada has.
Like, shout out to the Canadians. Like, Canadians are like
amazing.
10% of my following. It's like, which probably means all of the women in Canada based upon that.
I know. I love it. But
Canada needs, let's do a Toronto and a Vancouver.
I would love that. Toronto, I've got a ton of people asking. So yeah, I'm with you.
It'd be super fun. What advice would you give people on how to, and this is like your journey and then in writing the book, how do you find the right doctor for perimenopause/menopause?
Well, first of all, it's obviously if it's somebody that is telling you that it's trending, that's
a warning.
That isn't that ridiculous? It's so insulting.
Well, when people are like, everything's perimenopause, it's like, well, it does happen to every single woman. So it does need to be considered.
Yeah. 10 things, you know, you're blaming your hormones, everything's perimenopause, you know, you're too young for it. Any of those statements gone.
The other statement you're still having your period, so you can't X, Y, and Z.
Right. Any of those gone. And listen, I'm a big advocate of telemedicine, like a telehealth. I think it's great, but I also think that you've got to find a doctor, and you know this better than anybody, that is committed to this space too. I think it's really important. I think it's important to be up on what's next. I think it's important to know what research is going on. I think it's important that you don't feel like you always have to know more, because I think that can make you not feel quite so confident. And so I think that's important. I think I want to go in there and know that that doctor knows more than I do about this.
Yep. Yeah. I think the other thing is like this, sometimes it's easier. It's kind of like sex. You don't know what you want with sex, but you know what you don't want with sex.
Exactly.
But it's like with doctors, it's like when people are like, this is what we always do.
Yeah.
Like for people to have enough expertise to be like, no, sometimes we got to use this and sometimes we got to use that. And sometimes you need a different dose.
And talk to me about all these different things. I want them to work with me on stuff, not that this is it. It's it. Because we know that it's not, like, just sheerly from the research, just sheerly from the lack of information and education, we know that nobody has all the answers.
Yeah, totally. Was there anything that in your research or in the stories that for your book, or pick a topic, your book, your podcast, your documentary?
Hold on one second, because my computer is not charging this battery. So let me just go. I don't want to.
Yeah, no problem.
Save too if something happens with this stupid thing. Okay, let's see what this is. Sorry, it's like your computer is not charging, and I don't know why it's saying that. It's saying my battery is not charging. Do you want to save this and go to another system like my iPad? What do you think?
Yeah. Do you have any battery? How much battery do you have left?
It says 2%. So I don't.
Oh God.
I want you. It says 99% is uploaded, but.
Okay. Yeah, we can stop this and then pull it up, and we'll just wrap. We'll just do a wrap up.
I'll put it right on my iPad. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
I'm so sorry.